Hi guys, we are on section 10.1, starting a brand new chapter all about measurement and conversion. Conversion meaning we're changing things into different units of measurement. Today specifically, we're going to be working on section 10.1, which is all about customary length. In general, we have two forms of measurement. We have something called customary measurements, or customary units, and we have metric units. So in the United States, we use customary units of measurement most often, whether it be feet, inches, miles, yards, whereas in other parts of the world and also in science, they use metric units. So in this chapter, we're going to be looking at both customary measurements and metric measurements. Today though, we're going to be looking at customary measurements and specifically length. So the did you know there is probably important for you to write down in your notes. It has the conversions for feet to inches, yards to feet, and how many feet are in a mile. So when we're looking at converting, I have a little rhyme that I have to help us, because depending on whether you're going from feet to inches, yards to feet, miles to yards, any of those conversions that we're going to be making, you have to make sure that you are converting in the right direction. So the way I remember this is I sing a little song, which you can see it's written in the green text, and it says big to small equals multiply, and then down a little lower you'll see small to large equals divide. So I have this catchy tune that I sing to help me remember whether I need to multiply or divide when I'm converting. And it goes like this. Big to small you multiply, small to large divide. Big to small you multiply, and small to large divide. So what this means is, for the first one specifically, big to small. If I'm going from something big to something small, then I'm going to multiply to convert that. In other words, hopefully we can agree that a mile is much larger or much bigger than a foot is. So for that, I'm going to multiply for that conversion. That's going to be the operation that I use for my conversion, because I'm going from something big, a mile, to something small, a foot. Now, reversing that situation, if I want to go from something very small, like an inch, to something large or big, like a foot or a yard, then I'm going to divide. So please just remember that little catchy tune. It will help you with your conversions. I promise you this. Big to small we multiply, small to large divide. Big to small we multiply, small to large divide. So to give you an example of what I mean by this, we're going to start with our big to small. I have 4 feet as my first one, and I want to convert my 4 feet into inches. I want to know how many inches are in 4 feet. So in order to do that, I sing my song, big to small we multiply, small to large divide. And I can see that a foot is much larger than an inch. So because I'm going big to small, I multiply. But what am I going to multiply by? Well, what we multiply by is, for one, the number of feet. We multiply how many inches are in 1 foot. So I'm going to come back up to my conversions, my did you knows that I hope you wrote down. And according to my conversions here, 1 foot has 12 inches in it. So each foot has 12 inches. So if I want to know how many inches are in 4 feet, then I'm going to multiply 4 times 12. And I get 48. That's it. That's my conversion. 4 feet is equal to 48 inches. Let's try our second one. 3 yards, YDS is an abbreviation for yards. 3 yards is equal to how many feet? Step 1, think to yourself, what is bigger, a yard or a foot? A yard is bigger. So again, I'm going big to small, you multiply. So I'm going to multiply my 3 yards by how many feet are in a yard. So I come back up, and I can see that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So I'm going to multiply my 3 yards by 3 feet in each yard, telling me that in 3 yards, there are 9 feet. Now let's do some practice going from small to large divide. If it is something small, and I want to convert it into a larger unit, then I'm going to divide. For instance, 96 feet equals how many yards? Well, I know that feet are smaller than yards are. So I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide my 96 feet by how many feet are in a yard. So I go back up to my conversions, and I see, oh, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So there must be 3 feet in that yard. So that's what I'm going to divide by. I take my 96 feet, and I divide it by 3. When I do those calculations, I find that 96 feet are equivalent to 32 yards. Now one more. Let's look. I have 60 inches. Yeah, you got it right, Batman. IN is an abbreviation for inches. 60 inches is equal to how many feet? Well, again, like I said, we are going from small to large divide. An inch is definitely smaller than a foot, so I'm definitely going to be dividing. So I ask myself, how many inches are in 1 foot? And I come back and I look up. There are 12 inches in 1 foot. So that 12 is what I'm going to be dividing by. So in 60 inches, there are 5 feet. So as I've said, please remember, big to small we multiply, small to large divide. I have a couple of questions here too, to be exact, that I would love for you to convert on your own. I want you to convert this 24 feet into yards and these 2 miles into feet. Remembering, big to small we multiply, small to large divide. Ask yourself, what is bigger, a foot or a yard? And that's going to help you with that conversion. Ask yourself, what is bigger, a mile or a foot? And that's going to help you to convert those units. Solve it on your own, and then we'll see how you do, and I'll show you my answers, and hopefully they match. So I found that my first one, I had to divide. I was going from something small to something big, so I needed to divide. I divided 24 by 3, and I found that there are 8 yards and 24 feet. For my 2 miles converting to feet, I found that I was going from big to small, so I multiplied. 5,280 times 2 equals 10,560. I hope you didn't find that too challenging. We will be working with different units, whether it be customary and metric, all throughout this chapter. Mark yourself on your learning scale in a range from 1 to 4 on how successful you feel on this skill, and we will dive into it further tomorrow in class. As always, any and all questions, please bring. I look forward to seeing every single one of your beautiful faces tomorrow.